Hi. Okay, so I wanted to make this video about my journey with Afib and my ablation. Now, I wanted to start this video kind of and pace through it a little quickly because I know these type of videos get boring. And if you're watching this, you're probably watching others on YouTube. So I wanted to kind of give you a little backstory on what's happening with me. It's 2025. And my ablation is next week. I'm 7 days away from my ablation. I've never had an ablation. And I was diagnosed with Afib, officially diagnosed in 2024 of last year, about, I would say, September. And what I'd like to do is kind of spell out a little bit of what I went through leading up to this point without taking too much time. So I was always an active person in my life. I'm 5'11", 160. I'm not a very heavy person. I eat healthy, and I've always been really active and always kind of went to the gym and did a lot of stuff like cardio and stuff like that. Ever since I was little, I never had any heart issues, never had anything. And I always kind of ran. I did track, and I went to the gym from my teens into all the way through my 40s, and I'm in my early 50s. So never had any issues. I had a couple of weird little heart arrhythmias, like little micro ones that lasted like maybe a second or two that you kind of feel, but I never thought of anything, and those were in my 30s or 40s. So, and I only had two in those entire span of years. So I never had anything like that. And in 2022, I had COVID. I got over COVID, and for me, I started noticing a little bit of a change in my heart. It would, if I drank any alcohol or anything, it would just pound really hard. And my blood pressure started going up every time I'd go to the doctor. It was probably in the high 130s over 90s, and it was kind of going up. And I'd never had high blood pressure. In 2024, everything kind of changed for me. And that's what I'd like to cover in this video. So my first experience with some weird thing with my heart was in about February of 2024. I was doing my normal, I like to go do jump squats and burpees and stuff like that. And I like to run and do all that. So I had done a couple laps outside the gym. It's a little private gym next to my house. And I go inside, I start kind of doing my leg lifts where you just kind of jump like that and get your heart rate up. And I did 15 reps, a rep of 15. And then I realized that my heart was beating a little faster than I had ever felt it beat. Normally I know my rate, I know what my heart does, and this was different. I was getting a little lightheaded, and my heart rate seemed like it was speeding up from the 140s, I didn't have my Apple Watch or any kind of watch on that day. I do have one, but I didn't wear it that day. So I remember thinking something's a little weird, and I gave it a pause, and it seemed like my heart rate was speeding up more and more, and I couldn't catch my breath. I was getting kind of dizzy, and I thought maybe I was having an anxiety attack. So I just basically said, let me chill out for a second. And it didn't work. Like within a minute, I thought I was going to pass out or die. It felt terrible. I went outside, called a buddy of mine and said, hey, something's going on with my heart. It's pounding. And I remember not being able to make sense on the phone. I was kind of out of my head, and I was kind of feeling like I was going to drop. So I immediately hung up and I called 911. They came out. I was reaching for my chest, I remember, and I was sitting on a bench. And I told him, I said, man, it's going so fast, I can't keep up with it. And so they talked to me for like 15 minutes now. It had been like almost 25 minutes since I did my last rep. And he says, your heart rate's still at 160. And I've been talking to you for 15 minutes here. We're going to take you on in and take a look at it. That was the first thing. By the time I got in the ambulance, they did some maneuvers with me. They told me to hold my breath and stuff. So I think it was an SVT. I'm not sure, but by the time I got to the hospital, it had stopped, and I was in sinus rhythm. So they just sent me home. I went to the cardiologist, and the cardiologist, oh, that's not my first one. I had another one a couple months after that. I was hiking on a trail, in the summertime, and it was sweaty and hot. And when I got home, this was a really severe arrhythmia that happened. And then I went into the bathroom to kind of cool off a little bit, and my heart just immediately went into severe Afib, like really bad. It was pounding, and then it was stop and pound and stop and pound and stop, and it was going all over the place. And that was the first time I had ever felt it like that. And I immediately went and called 911. They came to my house and they put the monitors on me again, and they said, "You are in full SVT right now." That's what they told me. So the third one that happened was actually, I live in Central Florida, and it was actually at Disney. I had went out for a night with a friend of mine. I had a couple glasses of wine. I had some good food, which was bad. It was salty. And I was drinking that night, and the worst one I ever had hit me in the middle of the park. And it was at Disney Springs, and I had to go to emergency services, and I couldn't make it. It was like, I thought I was going to die. I sat down in the park on the pavement, and I just didn't even know where I was at. My heart was probably going over 200 beats per minute. This one lasted for 4 hours. I was taken in a stretcher to one of the nearby hospitals, and it was really, really bad because I had been drinking alcohol. So if you have AFib, you are not supposed to drink any alcohol at all, I found out. So this is my third severe case of it, and this time they diagnosed it at the hospital as an arrhythmia. I followed up with a cardiologist, and cardiologist put a monitor on me. And during the 4 days that I had the monitor, he said I had 6 AFib episodes. So they were happening all the time. So they diagnosed me with AFib. So subsequently, I was put on some medication, and the medication does help, and it has helped a little, but it has not stopped my arrhythmias. So I went to go see an electrophysiologist, and that is the doctor that is actually the doctor of the electrical system of the heart. That's the person who performs the ablation surgeries. He looked at my EKGs because I printed them out and I had them on me every time. Luckily, every time I had one of these episodes, they would come to my house and they would catch it on the EKG. So he looked at them and he immediately says, "You have AFib." There's no doubt about it. So he says, you can continue to take the medications. In some people, it does stop. And in many people, it's paroxysmal AFib, which means it happens every once in a while, but it can get worse and worse, which they started becoming way more frequent in 2024. By the end of 2024, I was having 1 a week or 2 a week. So it was quite a lot of them. They started happening when I laid down at night to go to sleep. If I got into some kind of a stressful situation and my stress level went up, they would start. If I was anxious about something, they were happening all the time. So I've scheduled an ablation for next week, and I will go ahead and document this video. And the next part of the video will probably be closer to my date until I have the ablation. I have watched a lot of videos, and most of the people that have them say that they're fairly simple to go through. But when you're actually the person going through it, it's very, very scary. So I wanted to document this and let you know what my experience has been, and I'll see you in the next clip. Okay, I just wanted to jump in the video real quick and let you know this is a day before the procedure. It's Sunday, and my procedure is supposed to be in the morning at 10 o'clock. So I got to be at the hospital at 8 o'clock to get prepped. I may not be able to make any more videos, but I'm just wanted to let you know that, just like normal, I'm nervous about the procedure and never been on the operating table really in my life. This isn't an operation. This is more of a procedure. It's supposed to be pretty simple. But of course, with that comes a lot of nervousness and all of that. So I just went for a run because I understand I won't be able to do stuff like that for a few weeks or longer, depending on how much they need to ablate. I don't know. They don't know until they get in there, I guess. So there's that. I worked out a little bit today because I can't lift anything, I guess, for a while. But I'm hoping to have a good procedure and a very simple outcome. And I will be back at the end of this video, most likely after the procedure, to let you know what it was like here in 2025 to get a cardiac ablation for Afib. Again, mine is for atrial fibrillation. So I don't know if those ablations are any different than for SVT, or if they find SVT when they get in there. I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm just going to do this completely blind. So my ablation is all finished, and as you can see, I am much happier. And I want to wrap this video up to tell you what my experience was. I know it's been a little long on the video, but I'm going to wrap this up quickly. So my experience was great. It was very easy. If you're thinking about getting one of these done, you should not hesitate. They're very simple to do. The only thing was the anxiety leading up to it was the worst part. And really, honestly, you don't need to have any anxiety. So my experience was they get you in there early in the morning. There's a lot of people in that kind of cardiac unit, cath lab, waiting to get done. They do several of them at the same time. And you're just given a number. They take your information. And then you're taken back to a prep room. They insert the IVs, which was probably the worst part, which wasn't that bad. I mean, it hurts a little bit, but you've had IVs before. And then they get you shaved down if you haven't shaved. And then basically within about 45 minutes, they go through all your medication list and get you checked in, and you're ready to go. As soon as they wheeled me in, the room was a little cool, but I told them I was a little nervous. They sat me on the table, and she immediately gave me some amazing stuff. And I'm telling you, after she gave me whatever that was, I did not care what they did. And I just remember them laying me back, and she says, okay, we're going to start the anesthesia. And that was it. And I woke up. That was it. It was over. Now, my ablation was only 45 minutes. I found out, actually, this is 2 days. I'm 2 days after the procedure, and I wanted to wait a little bit because I wanted to see what kind of ablation I had. And I finally got my report. So I had a pulse field ablation. And I don't know if they go faster or for whatever reason, but mine was only 45 minutes from the time they put me on the table until the time I was ready to go back into recovery. So they had to do the hardest part for me was they had to do a transesophageal kind of inspection because I was not taking blood thinners before the ablation. So they went down my throat, and that kind of made my throat sore. So I had to wait a couple days to make this video. Other than that, I didn't have any pain. I only took Tylenol one time. There was a little, you could tell they did something in the chest area. If you took a deep breath, I felt a little, swelling, but it wasn't really bad at all. The bruising from where they went in through the femoral arteries is minimal, and there has been very little pain in my groin. So I'm 2 days, today is Thursday, and it was done on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm 3 days past, and yesterday I was up and running and working. It was not a big deal. So yes, other than that, my heart has felt a lot better right after the procedure too. I have not had the feeling that I used to feel, and the only way to explain it is that, now I wasn't in AFib all the time. I had paroxysmal AFibs, but when it did happen, it was very symptomatic. But in between, when my heart was in sinus rhythm, it still felt different than it does now. It felt like it was beating a little harder, and it was skipping a lot more. Now, I don't notice my chest heartbeat at all. It feels very settled and relaxed, and I don't even notice it. It's very calm, and it's very steady when it beats. When I lay down, I can put my hand on my chest, and it's just very, very rhythmic. Before, it would beat and then kind of skip, and then it would beat, and then it would kind of beat a little faster, and then kind of beat and then skip. It wasn't like an official tachycardia or AFib, but it wasn't normal. And now I feel way better. So my energy levels are better and everything. So if you're thinking about getting this done, I would say if you can get one done, definitely do it and schedule it. Don't be afraid of it. I hope this video helps. Leave a comment below and let me know if you're planning on having one done or if you had one done. So I hope this video helps you guys, and have a great day.